Hey everyone, it's Pat from Pat Dev Music. Thank you for joining me for another video. Now, this is a brand new series. We're sort of taking some ideas from that classic one finger riff series. We're going to tackle some harder songs. These are going to require all of your fingers, all of these guys, some of these guys for tapping licks as well. But we're going to take on your suggestions. So if there's another song that you want to learn that's not in this video, leave a comment below, and I'll sort of decide later on if it's going to be a one finger riff video or if it's going to be a harder series than this. And I definitely recommend, even if you come into this video because you only want to learn one riff, you like Led Zeppelin or you like Metallica, you know, whatever it is, I highly recommend you should learn them all because it's so much fun to play, and by the end of it you'll be a much better guitarist. So if it means bookmarking this page or writing some things down, definitely try and learn them all. But otherwise, let's get started. So getting started, we're diving in and we're going to learn Led Zeppelin's Black Dog. Sounds like that. That was a little bit slower. Okay, so that's what it sounds like. So you want to come in here with your third finger on the 7th fret of the A string. There's a lot of chromatic sort of bluesy stuff going on. It's such a fun riff. So you start with that fret, then drop down and use your first finger on the 5th fret, and use one after another. 5th, 6th, 7th, 1, 2nd, 3rd. Then back up to that first note, then all the way down a string to the 5th fret on the 3rd string, and you play the note and then you slide up a fret. And then second finger on the 7th fret of the D string. So what we've got so far. So then you want to change positions when you have your first finger up on the 7th fret of the G string. You play the 7th, then your third finger on the 9th. Then go back to the 5th fret and you actually want to play the 5th fret, hammer on the 7th and pull off all on the same string. Then jump up, third finger on the 7th fret, twice. Back to the fret you were just on. Then back up. Then you play up a string, 7th fret twice. Then back down. Then back up. So that part. Then the last part, you sort of the tail end sort of walk back. You have your first finger on the 5th fret of the D string. And just when you're practicing that run, just take it slowly, but there'll be the tab the whole way through, so you can definitely get it and write it down if you need to. But checking out the second half of this riff, so you're halfway there, well done. So the next half, it's very similar, but this time you're up on the 6th string. So you're gonna come in on the 7th fret, you're gonna play that once. Then a chromatic line, 5th, 6th, 7th. Back up. Then slide from the 5th fret of the D string. Second finger up there, the 7th. Now think of that as sort of a quarter of the riff, okay? So the first quarter. So once you've done that first quarter, the second quarter you repeat twice. So you would start with your third finger on the 7th fret, then 5th, then 6th, but then you stop. You don't finish that chromatic. You then do the slide down a string. You then second finger up on the 7th fret, up a string, and then you do that twice. So what it sounds like. So that's the second and third part. So here's the first part. Second part. The last quarter, you play the 7th fret again, starting the same. Then the 5th, 6th, and 7th. And then off the back of that 7th fret, you would actually start the entire song again. So I'll play the whole second section. And that's Black Dog. Now I know it's very long, it's a long riff, but it's so much fun to play. And if you're a fan of Led Zeppelin, it's definitely a classic riff that you should all know and love. And again, it's just really fun to play. Moving right along. Okay, so checking out a massive hit from Metallica, we're checking out Wherever I May Roam. Now there's a bit of an intro and there's a few variations, but once you sort of watch the main riff, you'll sort of understand how to chop and change it depending on the parts of the song. Grab your guitars, lots of distortion, here we go. Starts with this big chunky E power chord. Then after that, you come up to the 7th fret and you play it twice and then hammer on with your 2nd finger on the 8th fret of the A string. Then back to the 7th fret. Once you've done that, head up to the 5th fret on the D string. So you go back to the 5th fret, you play it twice, and on the second time you slide to the 7th. Then 2nd fret up there on the 8th fret. So we've got so far. You can go back and play the E if you want. Then you play that tag again. What we've got so far with a little bit of distortion. Now in different sort of video clips that I've seen, in different concert footage, I've seen Metallica either play the E here with your 1st finger on the 2nd fret of the A, or play it up here on the 7th fret, so you're playing an E and another E. So it's up to you. And then when the drums come in, you play power chords starting on the 5th fret, chromatically 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. So now the real fun begins. I'll just play it so you can hear how it sounds. Okay, so it's similar, but there's a lot more sort of open strings going on. Now, whenever you do an E open chord over here, or over here, it's directly followed with another of the same chord, but you rest your palm, so you get that muted as opposed to open. So that's how you start. You start off with that open chord and then a muted, and then the riff, then another open, then a strike, then back for another open. So let's do that again. So open E chord. So that's the main part of the riff. And then after that you do the chords 5, 6, 7, 8. So A sharp, B, C. And the last part that happens every second time is once you've played those power chords, right? Once you've done that, you actually, instead of going back and playing the E chord again, you play this chromatic line 5, 6, 7, 8 on the A string. And then you start the riff again. So it's quite a quick. But again, it's only every second time. But that's it. It's so much fun to play. Great job for making it to the end. It's a long riff, but again, so much fun. Last one. Okay, so what we're checking out now is The Trooper by Iron Maiden. Classic song. It's a little bit tricky to do it at speed and with all the trills, and what makes this song is that classic sort of 80s guitar rule is, alright, I'm going to play this and I want you to play it 5 frets higher. And that's basically how a lot of harmonizations of those big sort of bands played. So if you're thinking, oh, it doesn't quite, it seems like it's missing something, it's because there's 2 or 3 guitarists playing the same thing but 5 frets higher or lower in order to harmonize. That's what makes it so massive. But enough yabbering, let's dive in. So what you want to do, set your guitar to ultimate 80s distortion. Yeah, close enough. Once you've done that, I'm going to try and get that sound. You want to come in with your 3rd finger on the 7th fret and you play that twice. Then on the 3rd time, you pull off back to where your 1st finger is on the 5th fret. That's the main sort of rhythm of this first half of the riff. Once you've got that, you play the 3rd finger, you move it up onto the 7th fret of the E string. Then you just move back 2 frets, exactly the same. Back 2 frets. So that's really almost all of the riff. Then the last little tag is you have the 1st finger on the 5th fret of the A string. Then you can bend your finger down so you can then play the 5th fret on the D string, or you can hop it down, it's up to you. And then you play the 5th fret on the A string, and then the 7th fret. And then you would start again. That's half of the riff. The next part is the really fun trill section. Dive in, it's tricky, but take your time, come back to this video, you can do it, you know the drill. And the next section, you want to come right on here with your 2nd finger on the 8th fret of the B string, play that first, then play the 7th fret, which is anchored already, so already there, standing by. Play the 7th, but it's really tricky, it's a lot to remember. You want to play the 7th, hammer on, pull off, hammer on, pull off, hammer on. So hammer on, pull off, hammer on, pull off, hammer on. And then jump down a string, play the 7th fret. So let's just try that. Hammer on, pull off, hammer on, pull off, hammer on, down to the 7th, then 8th fret, then repeat the trill, hammer on, pull off, hammer on, pull off, hammer on, then 9th fret twice, 7th upper string, then down string 8th, back to 7th, then back to 9th. You can do a bit of vibrato at the end as well. Now I know it's a lot to take in, I'll show you a little bit faster. Don't get too stressed with this series. If it's too hard, just stick to the 1 finger stuff and build up to this series. They're not going anywhere. I'm going to, first comment below is going to be a link to the whole playlist of this new series. But otherwise, I will see you again. And if you're wondering why there's only 3 riffs in this entire video, because it takes so long to do, if there's another riff you want to learn, leave a comment below. I've been Pat from Pat Dev Music. You've been awesome. I'll see you again. Bye.